chemical storage method. And like I said, again, with the teaching lab, I don't know how much you're handling chemicals or dealing with it, but it's a place for everything and everything in its place. So if for a period of time you're going to have chemicals in the lab, knowing whether it's flammable or an acid or a base, the idea is to keep your bases away from your acids. Even if they're dilutions, just get into the practice, because that's what you should be doing in your research labs, segregating your chemicals. And basically this looks neat. We've got a situation here, we've got all kinds of hazards. No labeling, no organization system or anything. You've got acids and bases and they're flammable all on that one table. That's flooded with disaster. Another example, basically, even in teaching labs or whatever, just be careful when you store chemicals if that situation comes up. So, we're out to chemical hazards. Why are we talking about safety and that sort of thing? You're dealing with a lot of students who basically don't know how to handle chemicals. One thing you need to pass along to them is, like, why am I wearing gloves? Well, you can get exposed to chemicals through the skin. Or why am I wearing, glasses? Well, you don't want sulfuric acid in your eyes. Why can't I eat a Snicker bar in the lab? Well, you could be potentially ingesting chemical particles. So personal protective equipment, every lab is different, every situation is different. Like I said, look at your safety data sheets, it will tell you what kind of personal protective equipment to have. And so it may be just, in some of your teaching labs, gloves at the most. Well, in your research labs, you may be suited up like, RoboCop. So it's something where you got to, understand what you're working with and understand what you need to use to protect you. It's the same thing. Pass that along to your students. Make them understand why am I wearing these goofy eyeglasses. Personal monitoring. And this is a thing where if you're in a teaching lab, you need to keep an eye on your students. Kids are stressed out, they're doing squirrely diets, they're coming in hungover, who knows what's going on. And so you may be doing your lab and everything's cooking like gas, and someone drops like a sack of potatoes. Then you've got an issue. But basically, if you're trying to keep monitoring your students, you may pick up on something before a situation gets more exaggerated. Or errors with yourself. You may be handling most of the chemicals for your students, and you're working under a fume hood, and all of a sudden you start feeling kind of dizzy, where a few seconds ago you felt fine. You got to think something is up. The fume hood's wrong, or I'm not wearing a certain part of, I forgot to put my respirator on. Think about what's going on for yourself and others. And if something gets, if you see several people affected, it's like get them out of a room, get your lab coordinator, talk to the staff room, talk. If something's not quite right with you or one of your students, go grab another TA next door. You got to think about communicating. They may be busy too. Work up a system of trying to communicate. Like emergency response team. Engineering controls. In the teaching labs, the main one you're going to look at is fume hoods. And so basically, if you're going to work with your students need to work with a chemical under a fume hood, tell your students why. It's like, well, it's cramped, it's crowded, I don't want to do this. Well, basically, the fume hood is pulling the hazard of that chemical away from them. So if you have a student working on the countertop, you say, I need you to work on the hood with the chemical. You turn around, they're sitting on the countertop working with that chemical. You need to jump on them and say, hey, get squared away and get back into that hood. Or, they may get a snort full of something, and next thing you've got a problem that you don't want to have. Hey, Elsie, you want to talk about fume hood maintenance, in terms of signage and stuff like that? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Elsie Rana, one of our safety specialists, and she deals with fume hood maintenance.
I have a couple of signs that I just wanted to make y'all aware of, because we do maintenance on a the electric shop does the maintenance on the exhaust fans twice a year in the system. So if you ever see one of these signs, that means the hood is not operating, so don't work under the hood. So it's not drawing. So till the signs are removed, that's when it's safe. Another sign is our student workers, they come through and they check for airflow. And if you also see a sign like that, that also means that it's not safe to work under the hood. So we just wanted to make you all aware of signage for the fume hoods.
So again, with the signs, it gives you a whole bunch more information than you would have if you didn't know. That'd be pretty loud if you were working with a pretty toxic chemical step into a hood and someone moved the sign away or it wasn't signed. Now you're working with a fume hood, it's not doing anything for you. That's bad news bears right there. Safety equipment. So think about this. You're dealing with a lot of kids, a lot of students, 15, 25, 30 students even. But get an idea of what location of where your safety showers and your eye washes are. So if something happens, bam, you're Action Jackson, you're making something happen, taking care of the student. Know how to use it. Like with the eye washes and the safety showers, 15 minutes. At the least, 15 minutes. And again, you have to assess your situation. It may be something where, like, hey, I poured this on my arm. Well, they can stick their arm in the sink. You got to know what the sinks are, the sinks work. But assess the situation. If someone gets a bunch of stuff splashed in their chest, that's safety shower. There's a whole bunch of conditions in terms of using a safety shower. Check monthly. This is an old. I never took this out. We do have our students. They do check the eye washes right in the showers. Some of them, the way the plumbing is, they can't check them. So when you start a lab for the week, and they only do it monthly, and what we're seeing, Elsie and I were over there checking on some showers and eye washes, or a shower and an eye wash. And I don't know how long it's been since it's been flushed, but we pushed that plunger on the eye wash, and I guess for like a minute or so, it was brown water. And so I don't know who wants brown water in the eyes along with sulfuric acid. So one of those things is when we talk with the stock room, I noticed that on this first floor, a lot of these eye washes have buckets underneath them. And so you can kind of do a flush yourself. I mean, again, you're kind of that front line in terms of safety. You're the TA. I'm way across campus, safety officer. I can't come help you. We try to do what we can, but a lot of times it comes down to you. Laboratory security, not so much in terms of teaching labs, but research labs. And I'll mention a brief story of an incident that happened a couple of days ago. Even if you're teaching lab, if someone walks in, suppose I'm assuming you're going to have your kid with glasses on, at the very least, goggles, glasses, and maybe gloves. So if someone comes in, they may or not be one of your students, but they got nothing on. Hey, what are you doing? Who are you? Glove up, glasses, hands, glasses. With your lab, between your research labs, keep the doors closed. I know it's convenient to keep them propped open. You can come in and out. But there's all kinds of crazy folks wandering around these days. You walk into your lab, oh, look, there's an old apparatus set up. What does it look like? It's smashed. And they'll trash it for you. Crazier things have happened. Something to think about. Safety shower. It's like, holy cow, there's a whole kind of factors in there. So a couple of things here. I think I'm doing pretty good on time, so I want to kind of elaborate on this a little bit more. What can I do with your class? There's some things you can do, like there's no curtain in the safety shower. Let's say you can't get your students to bail out for one reason or another. What you can do, again, if you know one of the students, or if you some sort of plan where you have a helper, it's like, hey, I need you to do this and handle this while I'm dealing with this. In terms of being discreet, you've got someone in your safety shower who's naked. Well, how can I keep them covered up? If I can't get the class to bail out, what you can do is basically like, let's say the stool is the person. What you can do is have people stand with their backs to them and basically form a circle. And so you've got some type of a screen. So you're trying to give them some sort of, keeping them covered up. Sorry? Privacy. Yes, ma'am.
I think most of the labs have a fire blanket, and it's not huge, but that might help in this situation, just to have a visual walk.
Excellent idea. But that's the thing where, in your TA, I don't know if you TAs get together every week for meetings, I don't know if they do that or not, but it's something to discuss, like, what's our plan if something like that happens? That's the sort of thing. And again, the other thing to think about is, even with the safety showers, one of the things I noticed was when we did a little quick test of it, we didn't have full open, just want to see what it was like. And the first about 10 seconds, just let it dribble out. What color was the water? Brown. So again, when it comes to flushing, our office tries to do that stuff, but again, you're on the front line, so you're there more often than we are. So maybe setting up a system of flushing system. I think Rachel Bauer says they do it, and I have no idea what the frequency is. The other thing I noticed too is as I had that shower going, once I got done, I was covered with these flecks of calcium. So you got to think about the person, you don't want them looking up into it or whatever. You got bits of debris coming out of that shower. And so that might get something in their eyes or whatever. So probably not so much a big problem, but something to keep in mind. With the eye washing, same thing, 15 minutes. Hold your head into it, open eyes, pry them open, nail them open, staple them open, whatever you got to do. But 15 minutes. The other thing to think about, again, a friend of mine had a couple of times, got some issues with her eyes. Same thing with the safety shower. You've got to think about the person. Forget the property. You're thinking about the person. And so with the safety shower, yes, ma'am.
What if you have contacts on?
Do the best you can to get them out.
You don't want to touch your eyes, though, right? You just want to try and flush them out, right?
I'm sorry?
So you don't want to touch your eyes, though.
No. Basically, you want those water streams in the eyes. You got them, doing this sort of thing. So yeah, don't be getting your finger in their eyes if you can help. But, do what you gotta do. Eyewashes and showers, 15 minutes. That shower, if you run that thing for 15 minutes, this whole floor is going to be flooded. Are you worried about that? No. Are you worried about that? No. Same thing with the eyewash. And again, thinking about a plan. You want to get your class out of it before you start doing an eyewash. And have them go lab to lab, like, hey, this whole freaking floor is about to become wet. And now you got, you could have a potential slip out of it. So think about that. But if you're thinking about that person freaking out, get them cleaned up 15 minutes, no less. Again, to communication, talk to them. Talk to Bauer. Talk to MJ. Communicate, let people know stuff's going on. And again, if you do the safety shower, even the eyewash, who are you calling? 911. And James, in terms of someone that safe shower and eyewash, do you want, if they make that call, do you want to try to direct fire department to the room, or are you taking the person out?
It's better living in the room and go meet the fire department or the EMS and tell them what you got. Because they're going to know, especially an ambulance, because they have a lot of equipment, they know what to bring. We had somebody that was exposed to this, and they'll know to bring, that type of stuff in that box. Otherwise, they're going to load up the gurney with everything. The medics rotate a lot. It's a career that doesn't have a lot of longevity, so there's a lot of turnaround. I try to keep them educated, but they may not know where the elevator is. So this is not the easiest place to find if you're not familiar with this building. So it's always good to go meet them and take them to where you need to go.
So again, it's a teamwork thing. While you're taking care of the student, you need to get someone to go, hey, dial 911 and do this. Go out to the emergency service area. There's a lot of coordination. Any questions, any concerns, comments, criticism? Yes, sir.
Would it be a good idea to have a student get another TA or have a student wait outside for fire security?
Yeah. That would be
Taking a question.
Mm-hmm.